Hi, this is the first in a series of Rhino 3D basics, and we're going to kick off with simple geometry, circle, line, square, ellipse, arc, points, and a control point curve. Okay, the red items we will do in a second video, which will deal in with object snaps. So the polygons will be drawn in the second one, so just ignore the red, so it's the black circle just now. Okay, I'm going to record these in Rhino 8 because it's been out for a wee while now, a few months, and it's going to be with us for a good 2 or 3 years, so better to have the screen looking more Rhino 8-ish than Rhino 7. Okay, so the software is kind of kicked off already. I've missed my chance to create a template, to start with a template, so I'm just going to do that just now. So File, New, and I'm going to go for the small object millimeters. Okay, because these classes were originally made for jewellery students, so the objects they're creating are much smaller than architectural projects, which are buildings and the likes. So small object millimeters and open. Okay, now the reason they're using that is because of the tolerance of the software. So I'm just going to use a command called units, and this lets me show you the tolerance that's being used. So the precision that's being worked to here is very, very high. So 1/1000 of a millimeter, ideal for objects that are very, very small, like jewellery. Okay, while we're here, I'd like you to tweak the grid. Okay, so we'll have a minor grid line spacing every 1 millimeter, but we'll snap to every 0.5 millimeter, 0.5. Okay, enter. Okay. Okay, if you haven't used the software before, then quick tour around the screen. These are drop-down menus which often cascade out to other settings. We've got a command line, and you have to keep your eye on this because a lot of commands have many options in them. We've then got tabs. Standard is a bit of a collection of lots of these, okay, but we will also use the surface tools and solid tools as well. Okay, but we'll start off with standard. Okay, so the kind of more esoteric commands are up here, and the most often used ones are down here. Okay, down this side we've got layers, and these are really quite editable. You can move things up and down and group them as well, which is handy. Down at the bottom here we've got what I call helpers. Okay, at the moment filter is switched on. I'm going to switch that off, so none of them are switched on at the moment. Okay, we're going to start with grid snap to make drawing a bit more controlled. Okay, up the side here we've got the object snaps, and they're only usable once the object snap button is selected here. Okay, they come to life. Okay, but we'll come to object snaps in the second video. Okay, now quick bit about moving around in viewports. So the active viewport has the blue tab. Okay, if you're in a orthogonal view, which is these ones, top, front, right, then if you roll the mouse button, it zooms in and out. If you hold the middle, if you press the middle mouse button, you get a context menu, and from this we often use zoom extents and the shading options. Okay, if you hold the right mouse button, you get pan. Okay, Control on the right mouse button is dynamic zoom, which gives you a smoother zoom in and out instead of the jerky kind of roll of the mouse. Okay, and the left mouse button is generally reserved for selection. So with nothing here, it doesn't do much. Okay, selecting from right to left gives you a crossing window. Selecting from left to right is a gentler window. Objects have to be completely inside that shape. Okay, there's a wee bit of difference in the perspective viewport. in that you have to use shift and right mouse to use the pan. Okay, but control and right mouse is still the same. Okay, and in this viewport, right mouse button on its own is orbit. So we change the view. Okay, so let's get drawing, and this is what we're going to create. We've seen this already. So we'll start with a circle, and it's centered at this point here, which is coordinate 30, 30, and we're going to use a radius of 20 units. Okay, so I just want to work in the top view just now, and I'd like to have an area that's at least 12 units, 12 squares this way, 8 squares this way. So if I just pan that in, drop back a little bit further. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oh, a wee bit more, that's 8. You can see now, and we've easily got 12 this way, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, it's 14 that way. Okay, so this is our start point for the circle. So remember, we're using grid snap. So circle command is here. Commands in here sometimes have a left click and a right click. This one's only got a left click. Line otherwise though has a right click and a left click. The small tags in the corner, they cascade to give you different versions of that command. Okay, so you can see here there's lots and lots of ways of creating lines. Okay, but it's circle for here, so a single left click, and then it's asking me, where do you want the center of the circle? Do you want to change any options just now? I don't. I'm just going to go for the coordinate here. If you keep an eye on this corner, it shows you where you are. So we're going to 30, 30, and I'm just going to tell it I want a radius of 20. So 20, enter. Okay, next command is a line, so just an individual line. So I right click this command. Okay, I'm going up a wee bit higher, so a couple of squares up, but in line with the edge of the circle. Okay, so that's my start point there at 10, 70. Okay, now at the moment my line is free. If I hold shift, it invokes ortho, so this button here lit up temporarily. I'm going to let go of shift. Okay, so that forces ortho. I could pick the point I want to go to, but let's say I don't want to select, I want to just say I want a line 40 units long. So just type in 40, and then you can see that the black part of the line is the 40. So wherever I go, that's 40, and this is going to be less than 40. Okay, so if I hold shift and then left click, press enter to stop, we've got our line. So that takes a wee bit of getting used to. It is a wee bit different from other CAD software, but it's pretty clever. Quite like it. It's handy if you're moving things for a certain distance. It's really good. Okay, next object is a square. There isn't a square command. A square is a rectangle that has sides of even length. So go for the rectangle command, and we'll start at this position. Okay, now I could pick the corner, but I just want to show you other things as we go. So what I want to do is specify the diagonally opposite position. So you do shift and at, so it's the A in the circle, and I want to go 20, 20. So that means 20 in the X direction, 20 in the Y direction, from where I am just now. Okay, enter, done. Square is exactly 20 by 20. Ellipse is a wee bit different. So you can see there's a wee bit of clue on the button itself. So there's 3 positions, 3 points. Position 1 is the center of the ellipse. Position 2 is we call it the height of the ellipse, half the height of the ellipse, let's say. And then position 3 is half the width. So it's easy to use though. So for this one, I'm going to go to 70, 25 for my center point. Okay, using the grid now, go to this position, so that's 70, 10. we've got our ellipse now forming, and if we go take the width another 10 units, so we're going to 80,25. Tidy. Okay, the next one is an arc. So there's lots of ways of drawing arcs in this software. If I hold this, there you go, all sorts of different methods. Okay, so this version is center start angle. So the center of the arc, if we come up 10 units along from the corner of the square, the start point of the arc, go 20 units up. Okay, the angle, a positive angle is anti-clockwise, a negative angle is clockwise. So let's say we want to do minus 45. So just type it in and press enter. Okay, and nearly there already. So I want to place some points initially, and I'm just going to jump to a different layer for that. So everything we've drawn so far is been on this default layer. We're going to change this tick to the red layer to do the points. So got a choice here of a single point or multiple points. I want to place 4 points. So I'll just show you the diagram before we go for it. So point 1, 2, 3 and 4. They don't have to be done in order as long as they're in the same place. Okay, so you right click this to get multiple points. Okay, first point in this position. Okay, that is 90,60. Next one, 3 big squares down from that, so that's 90,30. Across 2, up 1, takes us to 110,40. And then down 3, so we're in line with the bottom of the circle and the ellipse at 110,10. Enter to stop. Now these are going to be the control points for a wavy line, which is really called a control point curve. So these are the control points for it. So we skipped over that command earlier on. We didn't go to this one. We're going to do it now. So go back to the black layer. Left click control point curve, because we want to use control points. We're not going through the points. So you see the other option is to take a curve that goes through those points. That would be a different shape altogether. So control point curve. Okay, now we're still using the grid, but I just want you to have the points so you know where to go from. So we do need to do these in order. So click 1, click 2, click 3, click 4, then enter to stop. Okay, if you click on the curve, you'll see how those control points behave. So this is basically the tangent. It sets up the tangent, but then when we choose the third point, it says, well, actually I need to now curve inwards to pick up the influence of this one. And then it was like, okay, well, we're off back over to here to the end point, and so this is tangent as well. Okay, so it's usually the first portion and the last portion of a control point curve are based on tangent. Everything in between is really dealing with curvature. Okay, if we are able to pick one of these control points, so the curve point, okay, just see what happens when you drag it around. It's a very fluid object. Just come back to where you started and escape. Okay, that's the end of the first wee session. Hopefully you managed all that. See you in the next video.